eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up from home. Whoa!
And Durbin drills one into center field. That's got a chance. And Durbin sends it out. 2-run home run for Caleb Durbin.
Fly ball, left field, it is deep, it is gone! There's some insurance as Durbin homers again.
Durbin, fly ball, left field, fair foul. It is a fair ball, home run.
Durbin, deep left center, it is back, and it is gone! Caleb Durbin walks it off for the Brewers.
Oh, Derbs. Oh, buddy. Isn't that how we feel, Josh? He was just like a little, I love me some Caleb Durbin.
Yeah, and yet it's like we barely knew him. You know?
Right. It was fun to listen to when those boys went off like that, though. That's BA and Jeff Levering on the call, FanDuel Sports. What was one of the favorite Brewers from this past season is now a Boston Red Sox, along with Andrew Monasterio and Siegler. We got a couple two-tree guys back, though, so we'll get to that. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That was the big news while you and our guy Tommy Chunga were on the air yesterday morning.
You bet.
The news broke that Caleb Durbin indeed traded. That was the name that came out first, and then we learned just who else was involved in said trade. And as you may expect, this is a hot topic of conversation today because we're trying to decide whether this was good, bad, or ugly. Was it a good, bad, or ugly thing? Not sure. We'll dive into it. We'll hear from Matt Arnold. We'll hear from Caleb Durbin on what it means to be traded, but he wasn't talking about this trade. That'll be some interesting audio to listen to. Eric Kratz, so much more. The Caleb Durbin, Milwaukee Brewers, Boston Red Sox trade from yesterday is certainly the major topic of conversation today here in the state of Wisconsin. But first, there's other stuff, so let's play catch-up.
Packers.
I love, Josh, how much stuff comes out of Super Bowl weekend. Jordan Love was there. I believe Josh Jacobs was there. There was audio from Evan Williams, I think, and others, including Micah Parsons, as you would expect, recorded his podcast, The Edge, live from San Francisco over the weekend. And I caught a snippet of his conversation yesterday with Myles Garrett. And let's just say those are the arguably the top two defensive rushers in the league when healthy. Listen to them go back and forth on what their career looks like at this point.
That record is only going to stand for so long.
It is still currently my time.
Because I still do things that none of y'all do.
Who's none of y'all?
I'm just saying, I played 13 games. So obviously, I'm getting to the quarterback.
In 13 games, I had 18 sacks. What do you want?
I need whole season statistical category.
You ain't play a whole season. Mm-hmm.
We lost half our starting lineup and still made the dance.
Yep, and when you had your full starting lineup, we punched y'all in the mouth.
How many games y'all win?
5. Hey, guess what? We're doing the same thing.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing, sitting there on a set.
True.
Super Bowl weekend. Truth. It's fun to hear those guys go back and forth, and it's almost as if, it's the teacher and the student. And the student knows the student is very smart. And the teacher knows the student is very smart, but the teacher can't let on to the student that the teacher knows the student is very smart.
Yeah, the teacher has to say, you're still not better than me.
Stand down, buddy.
Right.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. Good morning to all of you in Duluth Superior on 710 The Game. Green Bay and the Fox Valley on 99.7 WNFL, 93.9 The Game in Wausau, and 12:50 a.m. and 105.7 FM The Fan in Milwaukee, where the cages were rattled yesterday. Here we go, Brewers.
Brewers.
Big trade, and yet is it? I guess it's maybe big in terms of the timing of the season, with spring training literally starting this week for some teams, pitchers and catchers, along with first workouts. The trade that rocked our world yesterday, we send Caleb Durbin, Andrew Monasterio, and Anthony Siegler, plus the Brewers competitive balance round B draft pick, something like number 6, 7.
There it is, yeah.
Something like that. Brewers receive a lefty that's probably going to be in the rotation, Kyle Harrison, infielder David Hamilton, who's already on some websites via the MLB being projected to start at third, but I think there's some shuffling that's going to happen within the Brewers lineup there. And another lefty / prospect, Shane Drohan. Yet, this is the playbook. This shouldn't surprise any of us. This is what the Brewers do, just not typically this early. Former Brewers catcher Eric Kratz has his own show on FanDuel Sports, and here's what he had to say yesterday on Foul Territory about the Brewers trade.
As a Brewer fan, yes, I am a fan of the Brewers, the organization, the people in the front office, the way everything's run. It's cool stories. But how can you get rid of two guys who finished 3rd and 4th in the National League and Rookie of the Year voting? Did they win it? No, they didn't win it. Isaac Collins and Caleb Durbin are off this team. They were guys that personified what the Brewers are. Are they getting rid of them because it's max value? Okay. How many times can you keep hitting on that?
Well, as many times as we possibly can.
Apparently every time. Yeah, that's
so far so good.
That's the difference. The argument that I will listen to here is the one that you brought up before we played Crass audio of usually when the Brewers make this type of move, it's in a Freddie Peralta situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's you've already put in your time in Milwaukee, and now you're going to go get paid a bunch of money, and the Brewers can't pay you a bunch of money. So that's the interesting point that Kratz makes as well, that you had two guys that were in, Rookie of the Year voting in the top 5, and you shipped them both out. It's not often that you have someone that gets votes for Rookie of the Year, or even if they don't, that the Brewers will ship out after a year, after 2 years. That's usually the bread and butter of when a player is on the Brewers. And so I think that that's an interesting argument to make against the trade, but we're going to play some Matt Arnold audio later in the show, and I think it lays out pretty obviously why the trade was made.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, right? Jet Williams, Cooper Pratt, Jesus Made, Luis Pena, although catcher. There's a lot of young talent in the farm system within the Brewers organization that is going to be ready this year and hopefully in 2027 when there's baseball next year. And so they can look at guys like this, plus the shuffle game and what the options are going to be. So we'll hear Matt Arnold talk about that, plus hear from Caleb Durbin himself in the offseason, talked about what it meant to be traded. I actually did chat with him via text last night, told him, you tell me, buddy, what time you want on this show this morning. The floor is yours. And he's a little busy.
Yeah, he has something going on.
Literally leaving for Florida for Boston Red Sox spring training this morning. We wish him none of the best. I told him that he is one of the good ones. I mean, he did everything this state asked him to do. He was on tour. He came on shows. He told his story. That's why this one stung when the news hit, because we looked to him as a fan favorite. And we'll chat about that later in the game, too, today, in regards to what does it mean and how hard is it for us to process when our fan favorites move on, whether it's being traded or being cut or whatever the case may be. But that's why that one stung, along with Andrew Monasterio yesterday, who brought us some memories in the last season as well. That is a hot topic of conversation the rest of this show. But let's continue the catch up for now. Off to the Badgers.
Badgers.
Just being a little prophetic here, this is what it sounds like when Bucky beats up on Illinois.
What a performance by Wisconsin. 95-74.
They pull away from the Fighting Illini.
That was last year.
Yeah.
95-74. Wisconsin was ranked 16th. Illinois not ranked. This year, different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Badgers not ranked. Illinois ranked 8th. And the Badgers are at the Illinois. I don't even know what they are. Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
What is a Fighting Illini?
An Illinois native that fights you, I guess.
Is there a specific theme to the mascot other than just, hey, we hate flat land and we're angry about it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I do think it's interesting. You guys, I think you talked to Brad Davison when I was out last week, and he brings up how it's a one season and then recycle when it comes to college basketball. And so we can play that highlight, but to your point, completely different ball game this year. Completely different. And coming off of that overtime loss, it's still a big one for Bucky.
Yeah, hopefully they walk in there a little bitter, frankly, because that's how they should feel after that loss against Indiana over the weekend. Those calls late in the game, I know you guys played some audio from Greg Gard yesterday, just brutal, plain, flat out brutal. So tonight at Illinois, a big one. I mean, we proved we can do it. We beat Michigan on the road earlier this year. Illinois ranked 8th, 7 o'clock tonight. Off and running. I reached out to Brad Davison to see if he wanted to join us. I think he is sleeping in and or just busy this morning.
Yeah, get some sleep, bud.
All things Badgers. All right, Packers, Brewers, Badgers, off to the Bucks. Brutal. End of story. I know that you guys talked a lot about what tanking looks like yesterday and whether or not this is what the Bucks look like when they're tanking or does it not. They're on a 2-game set in Orlando right now. Magic 118, Bucks 99. KPJ had 28. And new guy got his first bucket.
Thomas on the drive. That's the goaltend. And first points for Cam Thomas in a Bucks uniform.
Hey, how
That's
about
pretty
that?
much par for the course, isn't it?
I was fine with it. I was absolutely fine with it when I saw the score. I was more confused when we won 3 in a row. I went, what are we doing? Oh, hold on. I like this plan. We laid out this whole plan during the trade deadline of how the Bucks can legitimately get better and look to the future and start to rebuild around Giannis or not. And then it's like, let's win 3 in a row. Wait, what? No. Tank.
Well,
you must
the funny
lose.
part is that was our plan. Maybe never their plan.
I know. And that, and it's difficult. And I said, I'm new to this. It's been a long time as a Bucks fan hoping for tanking and picks because Giannis has been competitive and the Bucks have been competitive no matter what. But I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to watch a team tank. I'm not sure they know how to tank either. And so that's why I'm really worried they're going to mess this thing up.
I don't know if they want to tank. I don't know that they see value in tanking specifically with the way their picks shake down. Let's do our best. Forget the rest. Hashtag Tony Horton P90X. Oh, man, I was ripped back in the day on the P90X.
Yeah.
Do your best. Forget the rest. That was easy for me to do one set and go, that was my best. Forget the rest.
And
That's where the Bucks are at. It worked. Oh, dude. And then I ate my face off and everything went away.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
It's amazing how that
Good
works.
for you, though.
All right. Anything else?
Anything else?
Marquette had a big victory over the weekend. I know you mentioned it yesterday, but I thought there was some really awesome audio from Chase Ross's performance. He turned 23, led the team with 19, and had some insane finishes late in the game.
Ross, the dagger. Happy birthday to Chase Ross. Ross with the finishing touches. What a day for Marquette, led by 4 at halftime. Continue to extend it the entire second half. Golden Eagles can dribble out the clock on their 4th Big East win of the season in front of a packed house here in Milwaukee.
And Marquette is coming. Butler get healthy. Marquette is coming. The Big East is on notice for this.
The Big East is on notice that Marquette is coming, Josh.
Are they? Okay.
What do you think?
I don't buy that at all.
Tell me more. Why not?
Well, for one, we just talked about how college basketball is a Every season's a new season. I don't know that Marquette can salvage this season, even if they get hot, even if this team can figure it out. It's going to be a tough rest of the road to get them back to where they're making the tournament. I mean, essentially, I think at this point they got to win the Big East tournament. Like that's the only way that they get in, period, even if they win out the rest of their games. And then if you're going, look out for next year, well, every year is a new year in college basketball. Who knows who's going to recruit what? So I love that they're not losing. I love to see that they're getting better, but it's still going to be an uphill battle with this team if Shaka Smart and the program doesn't change the way that they do things.
To Brad Davison's point, though, it takes a hot second to learn how to play together. And hopefully that's what Marquette was up against this year. New guys, new squad. Take some time to learn how to play together because that's just the way college basketball is, and onward we go. Tonight, they go at Villanova, 6:30 Central. My favorite part about that piece of audio from FS1, that was awesome to see Fiserv Forum rocking for Marquette this past weekend.
Yeah.
Even though they're having a down season, the Marquette faithful are still alive and well and showing up for the team, and that helps. When you guys have people in the stands making noise and cheering on the team, that goes a long way. That's what the Green Bay Phoenix need this Thursday. They play again at the Crest Center from third place in the Horizon League. There's been a lot of shuffling that's happened in that Horizon League in terms of the standings and where they're at. Thursday, they are home against Purdue Fort Wayne, then at UW Milwaukee on Sunday, at Oakland, at Detroit Mercy, home against Youngstown State to finish off the season. Let's just say they split those and the rest of the conference does what they're doing. There's a chance, Josh, after a 4-win season last year for Coach Gottlieb and the GB Phoenix, to get a first-round bye and host a Horizon League playoff tournament game. Hi, what a turnaround.
I mean, it's, in my opinion, they're playing with house money. They're already playing with house money. Programs don't this quickly change from one year to another. And what DG's done has been incredible. And so would that be amazing? Yeah, obviously. That would be incredible. But even if that doesn't happen, it's been such a turnaround and an incredible turnaround for that program.
UW Milwaukee is at IU Indy tonight. They come off a loss against Northern Kentucky over the weekend. And a big shout out today, 11 Central. For the first time, 2 Team USA curlers are playing for Olympic gold today in Italy. And there is a huge connection to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Corey Dropkin and Corey Thiese, the U.S. mixed doubles team, one man, one woman, they have their take it punch to the gold medal match today, 11 this morning on wherever you find your local broadcast from an Olympic perspective, whether it's Peacock or NBC Sports or any of the other channels that they have their games on. NBC Olympics listings, wherever you can go get it. USA, NBC, CNBC. I mean, literally the Olympics are everywhere.
Yeah.
We'll hear some audio about that matchup later in the show. But at the end of the day, the Duluth Curling Club making their mark on the world stage. Corey Thiese, Corey Dropkin going for gold today in the Winter Olympics in Italy. There you go. You're up to speed now. What do we think about this trade? That's the question we're trying to answer today on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250 by Caleb Durbin. Hello, lefty starting pitcher. Is it a good one for the Brewers? We'll assess that next. We'll also assess what's up on 9 to noon. John Kuhn joins us later in the show. And after the loss last night to the Magic, the Bucks are now 3-21 in their last 24 games against teams that are above 500. So is there any hope for playoffs, or do we indeed need to tank out the season, whether they get the memo or not? Find out what the guys on 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn thinks this morning, starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, we're alive and together on a Tuesday morning. Good morning, Wisconsin. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Remember, Wisconsin, at any time you can find us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Inside Wisconsin Sports. Catch up on any segment, any interview, any hour, any show, anytime that works best for you. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Dropkick Murphys kind of sum it up best here, Josh. Ship him off to Boston. So how do we feel about this trade, Milwaukee and Brewers fans statewide on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network? That is the question in a segment we call I Have Questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. What questions do you have for Josh and I today that we can absolutely 100% without Googling a thing answer for you in real time?
Yep. Accuracy, not guaranteed.
It's up to you on how far you take the answer, but we got one. And so get your questions in the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Josh, the question of the day, do we like this trade? Is it a good trade? Are we surprised about the trade? The trade of Caleb Durbin, Andrew Monasterio, and Siegler to the Red Sox for a handful of guys coming back, including a fella that we sent to Boston when we got Hunter Renfroe, infielder David Hamilton, who the Brewers drafted in 2019. So I caught the show yesterday, Josh, and I know that I was proud of you, buddy. Yesterday, when the trade dropped, you could have easily punted on all the Bucks conversation that you had lined up, but instead, I heard you say, "I'm going to take some time to process this."
Yes. Need to
now,
process.
here's the weird part. I don't know that your processing mattered because you had the exact same reaction to the trade yesterday as I fully expected you to.
Yeah. Well, this
So
trade
how's the
is an
process
emotional realist's nightmare. Because you looked at this kid who hasn't been on your team for 5 years, hasn't struggled through the last 3 years to where you're going, why won't they move on from Durbin? Like, that wasn't the conversation. He was becoming a fan favorite. I wouldn't say he was a fan favorite because
I would.
He had 1 year. Like, in comparison to a lot of other guys, I think one more season and he would have been giving Churio a run for his money with jerseys. Like, he just needed this season to get there. And it wasn't based on anything he did. It was just time. He just didn't have enough time. And so I think that was a big factor in it. Now, on the other side, in Matt Arnold, I trust. I talk about, in comparison to what the Bucks front office does and even what the Packers front office does, the Brewers have stuck to their guns saying, this is how we do things. And it has worked. Hasn't gotten us a World Series, but it has kept this team competitive and getting better over the last couple seasons, doing this method, doing what they do. And so that makes it really frustrating because you're like, oh, I liked him. Oh, but every time you guys do this, it usually works out. So you go back and forth on, as a fan, how you feel about this decision. The one key, and I brought it up last segment, the one key for me that's really sticking out is he was a rookie. Like, you didn't have enough time with him. Usually, this is a player they would have traded for in Durbin, someone that didn't have enough experience to highlight what he was. And so I think that this was, for the first time that we've seen in maybe a little while, this was a Matt Arnold saying, yeah, we needed to get something back to fill a hole that Freddie left. And we didn't want to move on from Durbin, but we knew we were going to lose Freddie. And as much as we said, we have arms, we have a farm system, we needed someone to be able to go now, and that cost us Caleb Durbin. So when we had the opportunity to get a good haul back, unfortunately, we had to take it.
I think they were ready to move on from Caleb Durbin for those reasons, though. I don't think it was a very difficult decision when it came down to it. At first blush, you're like, oh, come on, right? To everything that Josh just said, we like that guy. We were rooting for that guy. Hello, he was the only one that hit against the Dodgers in the playoffs. But we didn't have long with that guy, and that's the difference. Isaac Collins, Caleb Durbin, those were good rookies for the Brewers this year, and we shipped them both out already. And we need to fill some spots in the pitching category for the Brewers, knowing full well that losing Freddie was a big deal. And let's be honest, we had a lot of raw guys that were in the rotation throughout the season last year. So some of those dudes will be up for sure. But the one that we got yesterday, the lefty, the new guy, he very well may be in the starting rotation already. Left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison. He was the 24-year-old lefty that essentially was the headliner along with Durbin in the trade yesterday. The other hard part to remember for Brewers fans is that we are aplenty in terms of talent in the infield. Look at the guys that are in the farm system that have the chance to come up and make an impact right away, including a guy that just got to the Brewers in Jet Williams. There's a lot of conversation. We've had numerous of them here on the show. There's a chance that Jesus Made may be ready. There's a chance that Jet Williams might move to shortstop? ? Do they mess with Joey Ortiz in the position that he plays in the infield, knowing that he started at third? So what does it all mean for the Brewers long term? Nobody knows, right? But at the end of the day, we look at this and go, dang it, that was a bat that we really liked. Here's a guy that's familiar with Wisconsin, went from D3, played in the Northwoods League here. He made the rounds in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, Murph FaceTimed him from the pieces that he was out and about in the community. You saw Durbin in a white cheese head on the Packers whiteout night when he came to the game with Sal Frelick. I mean, this was a guy that was very, very visible. Jeff Levering talked about it and how he went on a bit of a statewide tour with Durbin and got into schools and started to meet kids. I texted Caleb last night and just said, hey, man, sad for us, and hopefully this means all the best for you. You were one of the good ones. Stay in touch. Offered him whatever, however, if you wanted to be on the show this morning and say thanks or goodbye or whatever the case may be. And he's literally shipping off to Florida first thing this morning for spring training.
Yeah.
The weird part of the timing in this, why did we wait all off season and then pull the trigger on this right before spring training got off and running? That seemed weird. And I felt bad for Caleb because getting traded is hard enough, let alone the day before your plane ticket had Arizona on it. And now you have to sit on hold with Delta for 3 hours to figure out how you're going to get that ticket changed to, where are they? Port St. Lucie? Is that where the Red Sox are?
No
Jupiter
clue.
area, east coast of Florida.
No
Probably
clue.
flying into West Palm Beach.
Yeah, it's a change. I mean, it's part of the game. You know, it's part of being in the majors, and that those things can happen. Let's go to the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. Chris in Caledonia says, no one bats 1,000. I trust Matt Arnold, but how long till a move costs us? Caleb is going to be a star. That's what I'm saying. I feel like you might be right, Chris. I don't know necessarily that the Brewers thought that he wasn't going to pan out. I don't think this was a situation where we look at a Devin Williams or a Josh Hader and we see a guy that we let go because we go, hey, we got someone ready to replace you and you're falling off a little bit. I don't think that's what this was. I think this was an opportunity to where they need to be competitive. They still see that window. They knew they needed to get some pitching back. They needed to get a lefty in that rotation. They had to make up for Freddie being gone. And they went, we can sell high on Caleb right now. You can't say you're selling low on him, right? Not saying that he can't get higher, but you're selling high on Caleb Durbin right now. And so Matt Arnold said, this sucks, but we got to do it. And they made that move.
I like the move with Kyle Harrison. We needed a strong lefty arm. We got one. He's 24. He went 11 games last year, 6 starts, posted a 4.04 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 35 2/3 innings pitched. He's young. He's raw. We have some of those, but we trust in our ability to develop these guys. He has made his ML debut in 2023, and he's been used mostly as a starter, and that's the hope. If you were to search MLB.com, they came out yesterday with some of their projected starting lineups / rotations, and they got updated right away with this trade that the Brewers had. And Kyle Harrison is listed as number 5 in the starting rotation. Brandon Woodruff, Quinn Priester, Jacob Mizorowski, Chad Patrick, and now Kyle Harrison. And that's a good thing for the Brewers to have, knowing that we have Gasser and Henderson and Brandon Sproat. And now Shane Drohan maybe makes an appearance in the bigs this year. There are a lot of things that would make a guy smile, except for who plays third base. They loaded David Hamilton into that spot right away. That one I'm completely unsure on. What does that mean for a guy that's familiar with the Brewers organization for sure? But is that the answer at third base, is to just plop David Hamilton in there? Or we'll hear from the man in charge, Arnold, later in the show about possibly moving Sal Frelick into the infield. And they've had some good success with shuffling guys over the years.
Yeah, I think that it's wide open right now. I don't think that Matt Arnold, Pat Murphy, I don't think that anyone has a clue right now of who's on third, who's playing third base this year. I don't think they have a for sure answer. I think they just know that they have enough pieces to have a tryout and go, all right, boys, some of you have played here before. Some of you are trying to make it into the majors. We have an open spot. So let us know that you want that spot more than the other guy. And I don't know that that's the best mentality, especially for fans. It's a little worrisome, but I definitely think that is their plan. It's going to be a very interesting spring training of seeing who from these young guns proves that they might be ready to go, even if it's not at the beginning of the season. You know, maybe they have someone start the season at third, knowing, by, May, we're bringing this guy up, and he's going to be our everyday third baseman.
The 414 says, does the fact that he's going to Boston and having the green monster there, did it make Durbin a little more attractive for the Red Sox? Easy, quick answer. I think so. The dude can poke as a short porch, a tall porch, but a short porch in left at Fenway Park. That would be attractive to me as someone in the Red Sox organization, to get a guy that's probably going to bat 6th in the lineup, starting third baseman, short porch and left. If he can get the ball up, it will go out in that stadium. The 920 says, my question is this. Valentine's Day on Saturday and my wife's birthday on Sunday. Should I try to go ice fishing this weekend? I think this is an easy one. I would not.
Yeah, absolutely. You go and you bring her. Hey, honey.
She doesn't want to go.
Oh,
that's the question wasn't, do I bring my wife ice fishing with me? It was, should I try to go ice fishing this weekend?
Go for it. What could go wrong? Report back on Monday. Let us know.
Amanda and I give cards for some holidays and not others. And I always struggle to remember which holidays we get cards for each other on and which ones we don't.
Yeah.
Like, do we get cards for Sweetest Day? I don't think so, but we definitely do for Valentine's Day. Do we do cards for our birthdays? I think so. Usually I buy one and just have it in the back of my pocket just in case.
Smart.
Christmas, I don't think we do cards. I don't know. I can never keep it straight. Last night she said to me, hey, are we doing gifts for Valentine's Day or are we just doing cards? Which, pause.
Here we go.
Saved me. That means we're getting cards.
Oh, yeah.
To which I said, oh, no, we'll just do cards this year.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going ice fishing.
I don't think so. I would not recommend.
Oh,
0 stars. Would not recommend. Trevor, are you promoting the Pink Flamingo 9-pin bowling tournament? And is Josh going to compete with you this year? So the easy answer is yes. It's March 14th. The Pink Flamingo nonprofit that I'm a small part of here in Northeast Wisconsin puts on the 9-pin bowling classic here in Green Bay as of March 14th. Problem, I'm out of town on spring break.
Uh-oh.
And I hate missing this because it is an absolute blast. This is not, for most anyway, a competitive 9-pin bowling tournament. This is a get your drinking shoes on along with your bowling ball trying to step in any spillage of the beer and have a blast.
Yeah.
And it is a blast.
Yeah, and for my participation, I might be all bowling charity event vented out because I have Bowling with the Chumps, my charity event here in the Milwaukee area, the weekend before, which has been a crazy ride already, and we are actually looking for help still with the event. I'm going to put it out there again. If you have anything that we could add to the auction or a silent auction, I'm looking for people that might be able to donate some Packers tickets for us to add to a silent auction package. And then we're also doing lane sponsorships this year too. So if you're a business that wants to get a little additional promotion and help a good cause, please let me know on Twitter at OnAirJosh. We'll take all the help we can get.
Just got a text from Amanda. Valentine's Day, birthdays, anniversary, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Screenshot.
Yeah, you're gonna want to save that, bookmark that.
Like I said, I always have one. I just never really, it's hard. I don't know. Why don't we just do them for all of them? Probably because we decided, we don't need a card for that. Well, guess what? Now I don't know what we need a card for and what we don't.
Right. Too many cards.
JB in the 920. That card list is about as accurate as the list or database of Josh's different hats. There's a lot of them. This is a new one that you must have got at Disney this past weekend.
No, it's one I've had. It's new to you. New to you though.
It's a repeat.
How's your list going, by the way?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have to go back and look at all the videos and create one. That would
remember when you said you were going to do that? I said
100%. Mark
no
and
way.
Eagle, Trevor, Caleb's a big leaguer. He isn't
Moving
making
on.
any travel arrangements. I know. You missed it. That was a funny ha-ha. When we come back, let's talk about curling, shall we?
Baby.
Some friends of ours from the north, Duluth Superior, going for gold today in Italy, 11 o'clock this morning. We'll chat about that, plus any more questions that you, Wisconsin, may have that we can answer as you see fit. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
It's time for
The most electrifying.
Sound of the Day
The most electrifying.
on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
With the last shot of this game and a chance to lift the Americans through to play for gold. Team USA trying for 2 and the win.
Girl, clean.
Clean is the word you want to hear.
Clean, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's TC to a T for Team USA. And the Coreys roll on to play for gold. The Americans knock out the reigning Olympic gold medalists and defending world champs, and they will play for the Olympic title in Cortina.
And that call of the U.S. Olympic Coreys going to the gold medal contest for the first time, courtesy of Jason Knapp and NBC, is our most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress, connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. I am so in on Olympics. I didn't plan on it. I didn't think I'd be. I'm so in.
I'm excited to watch that today. I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it live, but I'll watch it on repeat tonight and try to close my ears, my eyes to see if I can't not learn who won and who didn't. But
sure.
Take that, Italy.
Yeah. Knock out the defending champs.
The Coreys are here, and they're from Duluth Superior, and they 100% listen to this show on 710 The Game in Duluth Superior here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We're jacked. The Coreys, Corey Dropkin and Corey Thesey, playing for Olympic gold today in Italy. My notes say it's on USA, but it's also carried across the NBC, CNBC, USA coverage. So wherever you should check your local listings and make sure you don't miss that. I did not know, Josh, that Duluth is the USA curling capital of the country.
I also didn't. I knew it was somewhere up there. I didn't know it was specifically Duluth, but it makes sense. And it was great to see when you watch that match and they had the cameras set up on all their like friends and family that couldn't make the trip, cheering them on from the training center. That was awesome.
That rock that she threw to end it yesterday, one rock, they won 9-8.
Yep.
That rock was for bronze or nothing, or to go on and possibly win gold. You want to talk about clutch shots?
Yeah.
That's a clutch shot.
You know what I thought was really interesting too, is that if you watch that, they actually put like heart rate monitors on their spouses in the stands.
Really?
So they would like pan to their spouses and they would show it going from like 116 beats per minute to 156 beats per minute as the match went on. I was like, that's interesting. I don't know that I would have agreed to that, but that was a interesting, fun little thing to do as a viewer.
I think we should get you a heart rate monitor.
Hell no. We're
gonna
not.
Put one on you.
No.
And the third box on this screen
No.
is going to be, because we're live on YouTube and Twitter. Stop saying no. You don't even know what I'm trying to say yet. We're live on YouTube and Twitter, and we're in what's called a 2-box in the biz. And when we have a guest, we go to the 3-box. We could sign Josh up for one of those Whoop things or whatever it is, put one on him, and let's just hypothetically say it's Brewers playoffs. And we'll show everybody your vitals when you have to talk about it
in real
the next
time.
morning.
In real time. Yeah.
And that's the best thing ever, though, because I can see when I poke the bear. I can see the immediate impact of what it means to poke the bear that is Josh Albrecht. And then whoop.
Yeah. Bad for my health is what people would see.
Is it, or is it cardio?
Oh, I don't know. When I'm not moving, it's not cardio.
Well, your heart's doing cardio. You're just not winded.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the heart rate is supposed to match the movement. Not, according to your heart rate monitor, you are sprinting right now. And yet it appears that you are sitting in a chair.
Buddy, I don't know about you, but if I'm sprinting, my heart's a lot higher than 156.
I don't even. Yeah. What is it?
You want to try it? Go in the parking lot at the break, and we'll see what your heart
No.
rate is when you come back.
Oh, God.
The morning
Never
wind
come
up
back.
is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Stay here.
Your fan weather forecast brought to you by Habish and Rotier is cloudy conditions. They'll continue today with a high of 38 degrees, and it's currently 33 degrees here in Milwaukee.
I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa!
And Durbin drills one into center field. That's got a chance. And Durbin sends it out. 2-run home run for Caleb Durbin.
Fly ball, left field, it is deep, it is gone! There's some insurance as Durbin homers again.
Durbin, fly ball, left field, fair foul. It is a fair ball, home run.
Durbin, deep left center, it is back, and it is gone! Caleb Durbin walks it off for the Brewers.
Ryan Anderson, Jeff Levering, FanDuel Sports. Home run calls for the one and only Caleb Durbin that in a Brewers uniform, at least for now, we shall hear no more. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Both of us back in the saddle. I took yesterday off to recover from a little bit of a Super Bowl bash that we threw on Sunday. We do it every year. It's a blast. Josh was in Disney over the weekend, off on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Tommy Wartz for filling in for both of us on Friday and Monday. We appreciate him very much. We appreciate Caleb Durbin, too, and Andrew Monasterio. Not so much Siegler. I don't know. He really made an impact while he was here.
Yeah.
And hopefully we appreciate the new guys that came in a trade yesterday between the Brewers and the Red Sox. We'll dive deep into this and get some things off our chest. We want you to do the same, and the time for that is right now.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The coffee has kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We've got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the morning mind dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Off your chest, out of your head. Don't carry it with you on a Tuesday. Dump it on us. 414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law fan talking text line. In regard to the trade between the Brewers and the Red Sox, maybe there's some things that you just don't know how to process. Well, good news. Free therapy here on your radio.
Ooh.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. So, Josh, I caught your reaction yesterday towards the end of the show when the news broke that Caleb Durbin, along with Andrew Monasterio, Anthony Siegler, and the Brewers' competitive balance round B pick in the 2026 draft, which is the 60s pick. We get back left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, infielder David Hamilton, who we're familiar with, and lefty prospect Shane Drohan. The initial reaction was much like Jim walking into Nadia's bedroom, or Jim's bedroom, where Nadia was in American Pie. Oh, geez, oh, God, oh, crap, oh, no. That's the first blush, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after processing the rest of the day last night and maybe a little bit this morning, from a mind dump perspective, where do you stand now?
So I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated because of the unknowns.
Expected you to be.
It's because of the unknowns. That sucks, right? And the only thing that makes me feel better about it is the fact that I trust Matt Arnold. I trust Pat Murphy to, regardless of who's in there, Pat Murphy's going to get the best out of them. That's why he's the back-to-back manager of the year. And Matt Arnold is a wizard, and he keeps doing things like this that work. So I have to trust Matt Arnold. He hasn't given me a reason not to. But when you get rid of a guy like Freddie, which you cannot act like getting rid of Freddie isn't weighing on your mind when you are looking at trading Durbin. That's there. You're going, okay, so first they got rid of Freddie, now Durbin, and you look at the difference between the situation with both of those guys. We are used to getting rid of guys who we cannot afford. That is the Brewers' way. We can't afford you. Thanks so much. We're going to get whatever we can for you and hope that the next rotation of guys, young guns that come up in the system, can put on a show. That's what the Brewers do. But Durbin was a young guy. And so this was the first time where I felt like, I don't know that Matt Arnold necessarily saw this as a huge win as much as a necessary piece to where he thought we need to get a lefty arm in this starting rotation. And we have a lot of talent that'll be here, if not this coming year, next year. So if someone's going to make us that offer for Durbin, we got to take it. Doesn't mean I like the trade. It's frustrating. But I think that this is the first time in a long time where I'm looking at the Brewers losing a player because they couldn't afford to pay him and having it have multiple repercussions beyond just losing that player. I think that the Durbin trade was impacted by them not having Freddie.
I love the trade. Durbin batted .256.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an all-star third base baseball performer. The reason this hurts us, finger quotes, is because it tugs at our heartstrings. Caleb Durbin was a very likable Milwaukee Brewer. I've chatted with him on the podcast. We had him here on the sports show. He's a dude that was quickly becoming one of those fan favorites that we thought we could connect with. That's why this hurts so bad. But nothing in the last two seasons has left me scratching my head when it comes to the way that Matt Arnold shuffles this roster around. And for some reason, we as fans, and really the rest of Major League Baseball, continues to doubt the Milwaukee Brewers, and I don't get it. How good do we have to become in order for, to your point, Josh, for us to go, Matt Arnold, in you we trust? No matter if it's having to move on from Freddie Peralta, which was required from a checking account balance standpoint. We had to get something back for him. We made a clear mistake with Willy Adames. We didn't get anything back for him. We weren't going to make that mistake again with Freddie Peralta. This trade, though, yesterday, peanuts in comparison to whatever that was with Freddie Peralta and having to move on, and completely different reasons. This is not the first time that Caleb Durbin has been traded, and I think there's something to that. He made an appearance in Fond du Lac over the offseason, not long ago, actually. It was in January, and Bart Winkler was able to interview him. Bart was the MC of the event in Fond du Lac, along with the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. On that same night, Murph was here in Green Bay on his statewide tour. It was the last stop. And, of course, those two dudes got pretty close. It was clear based on how they spoke with each other. While at his event in Fondy, Bart Winkler got the chance to chat with Caleb Durbin on what it was like to be traded. Listen to what Caleb had to say.
Getting traded must be the weirdest thing in the world. I mean, you've been a guy who's been traded in off seasons a couple of times. Do they don't say, hey, by the way, you're not, or you just wake up and you're a Brewer tomorrow?
They say, we like you, but it's a business, so you kind of understand both sides of the things. They try to be as transparent as they can be with you, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and there's decisions way outside of my control that I can't be too worried about. Yeah, anytime you get traded, it's kind of comes out of nowhere for most guys.
Dude's pretty standardly moved around his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
D3, then the Rockford Rivets, the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. Those are the two teams he played for in the Northwoods League. Then he was drafted in the 14th round of the 2021 MLB draft by the Braves, was then traded to the Yankees, and then traded to the Brewers. That was the deal in December of 2024 that landed him, and sent Devin Williams to the Pinstripes in New York. He debuted for the Brewers in April of 2025, and now, a few days before spring training, gets traded off to the Boston Red Sox. He said it there. It's a business, and they try really hard to be as open and honest as they can, but sometimes it comes as a complete surprise. It certainly came as a surprise to us as Brewers fans going, wait, what? Really? So the shock factor is real when we process things like this. But at the end of the day, Durbin was a guy who played well, and yet, I think I'd say this if he was in the room, I think he's replaceable. It wasn't going to be an all-star talent here at the Milwaukee Brewers. We have way too many guys on the infield roster, not only now, but coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So for a guy like Durbin to stick long-term, same thing true for Monasterio in the outfield. For a guy like him to stick long-term, it just wasn't plausible here in the Brewers organization. And so we saw an opportunity to land a lefty pitcher, two of them, frankly, along with a guy we're familiar with in the infield in David Hamilton. We drafted him in 2019, and we ironically traded him to Boston in the deal that brought the Brewers Hunter Renfroe, and now he's back. So these are all familiar things for Matt Arnold and the Milwaukee Brewers, and frankly, the system and the way that Murph runs the team. So after first blush of the son of a Caleb Durbin, like we were just starting to like him.
Yeah.
We were just past the awkward phase with the fella. Now he's gone.
Yeah, I just I think that makes complete sense. I still think that they don't fully believe that all of this talent that they have in the farm system right now is ready to come up. And so if they could have held on to Durbin for a year, I think they would have. I don't think that they were looking to move Durbin necessarily. I think that it just they looked at their needs.
Why do you feel that way? Why do you've said that a couple times now. Why do you feel like they weren't looking to move Durbin? Because they literally looked to move Durbin. What am I missing?
Well, for one, we didn't hear, I think that added the shock value. We didn't hear anything in winter meetings, anything else. Right. Hey, Durbin's trying to move on. If they would have, I don't think the Brewers would have been PRing him all over the state as much, putting him on banners. So there was no talk from per sources of them wanting to move on from Durbin.
But look at us.
But on top of that, it went deeper than that. I think that they're assessing what they have in comparison to what they need. They lost Freddie Peralta. That was the biggest loss. They knew that they were going to have to move on from Freddie. They didn't like that they were going to have to move on from Freddie, but they knew that they were going to have to, and that they were going to have to fill that hole the best they could. They looked at their rotation. They didn't have a lefty starter. They were like, we need to do something here. They didn't trust arms that they have in the farm system, that they were going to be ready to go to fill that gap, to be a starting pitcher right away, out the gate, by opening day. And they looked at what they had in the farm system that could, to your point, go in to the infield and play. I think the big thing is that I've asked Levering this, I asked Lane Grindle this, I've asked anyone that I think I could that has anything to know, anyone who knows anything about the Brewers currently, Do you think we're going to see some of these young guys up this year? And all of them have said, I don't know. Maybe you'll see Jet Williams. Maybe you'll see. I don't think Made's ready. I don't think you're going to see him. I don't think there was a lot of that of not yet. They're very close, but maybe not yet. And so that's why I think they could have used the services of a Durbin one more season if they didn't think that their farm system was truly ready to go. I think that hole that Freddie left forced their hand a little bit to try to experiment, put some things out there, see what pitching might be available. And when the deal came for a Durbin, they went, let's jump on it. Let's do this. I think that's how they got there.
I swallowed wrong right when I was about to talk after you were done. Sorry
boom.
about that. Mute button. I think Jesus Mate makes his appearance in Major League Baseball this year.
At this point, I definitely think so too.
Well, he'll start at AAA. Remember, he was here in Appleton in Northeast Wisconsin for like 3 seconds. Then off to Biloxi. Quick turnaround there. Now he got invited to the Major League camp in spring training. And now we've made these moves. And now we have guys like him and Cooper Pratt and Jet Williams and others that we think could make their way up. Add on to that. Now, here's the real question. And I don't think Matt Arnold talked about this, nor did I expect him to. And then we'll get to some of your takes on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, by the way. Keep them coming in the morning mind dump about the Caleb Durbin trade, 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. How much are we looking at this season as a chalk it up to whatever we can get the most out of the Milwaukee Brewers because there's not going to be baseball next year?
I hate that.
I know, but I wonder if it's plausible just from a way that we're currently looking at setting the roster from a monetary perspective.
No, you can't win 97 games in the regular season and go to the NLCS and be worrying about a lockout.
No, I think it's the opposite, Josh. I think they're doubling down on making sure that they keep that momentum. A guy like Caleb Durbin did not get us to the NLCS. Pitching.
He batted best in the NLCS.
In the NLCS, yes. But 256 on the season is, again, likable guy, replaceable fella.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about a 230 guy in Joey Ortiz. He's still here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like he was
vacuum at shortstop. That's why.
Well, sure, but I'm saying it's not like he was the worst bat in the lineup.
No, but he's a replaceable bat. Here we go. Chops in the falls. Guys like Durbin are easy to grow attached to, but that type of player is also easily replaced. Pitching as much more important. I also think many are underestimating just how good Harrison can be. Not that long ago, he was a top 20 prospect in all of baseball. Do we know much about Mr. Harrison, the lefty thrower that we got that should be in the starting rotation to start the season for the Milwaukee Brewers? A 24-year-old lefty, upside, who has already logged MLB innings as both a starter and a reliever. In 2025, he worked 11 games, 6 starts, 4.04 ERA. He's got a 5-pitch mix, Josh, that really, I think, made Matt Arnold go, yeah, we want that. He's got a 4-seamer, a sinker, a cutter, a changeup, and a slurve.
Yeah, listen, and this is what I'm talking about, though. This was needed. Right after the Freddie Peralta trade, when we had on Tim Allen, the franchise, I was surprised because he's an optimist. He came on and he was not okay. He was not okay after that Freddie Peralta trade. I think part of it was you just look at the question marks from the starting rotation. Is Miz going to be able to settle in? Is he ready to go? Are you trusting that Priester's going to be able to have the same performance? There's a lot of guys in the starting rotation that were a lot of upside, but it wasn't a guarantee. And I think when you took Freddie out of that, who was your Iron Man, he was the guarantee. I think Matt Arnold was like, we need to have a more solid starting rotation. We need to get pieces in here in case someone falls off, in case something happens. Don't forget, too, the Brewers had a ton of injuries last year in their starting rotation. So I'm not surprised by the trade in that regard. It's for Durbin, knowing that he was only here 1 year.
Jason in Sheboygan says, I love the Brewers, but I hate the state of baseball. I believe in the process of the Brewers, but I don't like the process of the Brewers, if that makes sense. I think so.
I think I get what you're saying there, Jason.
I think what Jason's saying is, and Jason, correct us if we're wrong, trying to read your text message to the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. I think what you're saying is, I believe in the process that the Brewers use to build their roster, make these trades, and do everything they can to put the best team on the field at the budget in which they're called to do so. That's not true for other teams. And so what he's saying is, I love the idea of the Milwaukee Brewers, and I also hate the idea of the Milwaukee Brewers based on how they have to do it because of the state of baseball. Did you get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense to me. It's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating to be a Milwaukee Brewers fan and to know that when a free agent becomes available, your team's not in the running, and to know that the way that your team has to stay competitive is to trade away the players that you've now fallen in love with because they can't afford them anymore. It's the Major League Baseball does not make it easy to be a small market baseball fan. It's just the way it is.
Ron Rome says Durbin wasn't a great hitter, but he was a competent hitter. And half of the Brewers lineup is missing competent hitters. He had 4 out of the 14 hits for the Brewers in the NLCS. Yelich had 1 swinging bunt.
It's true.
Chops in the Falls. Guys like Durbin are easy to grow attached to, but that type of player is easily replaced. We mentioned that earlier. The 414 says, hey, guys, either fortunately or unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with third base by committee. Not sure how I feel about that. I'm hoping one of these young guys breaks through. But what do I know is that Jorge Ortiz is not the answer. Well, he's not the answer at the plate, but he's absolutely the answer at shortstop.
Well, but there's talk about moving him to third.
There is talk. That's where he started.
I don't know that that's the answer either.
Depends how good Jet Williams can be at shortstop. Or if Jesus Mate comes up, he's the shortstop.
That's why I'm saying I think in comparison to previous years, this spring training is going to be super interesting because there are positions and young guns that can make a name for themselves here and really take advantage of an opportunity. This is not where you have a lot of talent and they're just waiting in the wings for someone's contract to end and the Brewers to move on and bring the next guy up. The time is now. There's a spot now. And these guys, instead of it being, well, we have a lot of talent waiting for this guy's contract to expire, it's, okay, is this guy ready to go? Because we need them now. That's different.
The 262 is wondering if Harrison was the one that we wanted but had to accept Priester instead. I think that is a hot, amazing take. Is Harrison the one that we really wanted, and instead we didn't have enough to get him, so therefore we ended up with Priester?
How did we get Priester? You remember?
Meaning, who did we give up?
Yeah.
Unaware at the moment. Jason in Sheboygan says, nailed it. Thanks. We appreciate that. Doing our best to process. The 262 says 80 wins. Little early to be judging how many wins the Brewers may or may not have. Remember, not a soul. None of us listening, watching, viewing, even ourselves thought the Brewers were going to be the best team in baseball last year.
Yep.
So let's not doubt what they can do. Here's Cowan and Waukesha. Any thought on Jake Bauers at third?
Oh, Tommy just woke up.
Probably not before Sal Frelick.
No, I don't think so.
What'd you find?
So it looks like Priester was traded from the Red Sox to the Brewers in exchange for a minor leaguer, Yoferi Rodriguez, and a competitive balance round selection in the 25 draft, where they selected Marcus Phillips. And then John Holobetz was sent to Boston as a player to be named later as well.
So he might be right here.
I mean, that wasn't that sounds to me like we didn't give up much of anything
at all. And
For
therefore,
Priester.
we weren't going to get Harrison. I wonder if, to this person's point, we were going after Harrison last year, but didn't have enough to allow the Red Sox to feel good about a trade. So instead, we landed Priester. By the way, great trade. Turned out very well for the Brewers, and he'll be in the starting rotation this entire season coming up. And it's plausible to look at this and go, oh, we wanted Harrison back then, but now we had a guy in Caleb Durbin and a guy in Andrew Monasterio, plus a few other pieces that we could put together a package to the Red Sox to go, hey, remember this chat last year when we wanted Harrison, but we ended up with Priester and ended up not being able to give you what you needed for Harrison? Well, now I think we can have a different conversation. I think that might be right. That's an awesome take. 414-677-1250. It is a Take Back Tuesday. And so on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, if there's anything that you got to take back that you said, maybe about the Brewers, maybe about the trade yesterday in the heat of the moment, maybe over the weekend with the Super Bowl and any connection to Wisconsin, do you have anything to take back? That's what we do next on a Take Back Tuesday, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I have something to take back about Matt LaFleur. You're going to want to stay here. Continuing to process the Caleb Durbin Milwaukee Brewers trade yesterday between the Brewers and the Boston Red Sox. Plus, we need to process what's going on in the Bucs organization right now. They're 3-21 in their last 24 games against teams above 500. So is there hope for the playoffs? Are we tanking? What do the guys from 9 to noon think? We'll check in with them with former Packers fullback John Kuhn later this morning. Their show 9 to noon here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, continuing to process this trade with you on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. Some in listener land pointed out that the paths didn't quite cross for us to be interested in Harrison last year. That doesn't mean he wasn't on the Brewers' radar. It just means that when the trade happened with Priester, Harrison actually wasn't even at the Red Sox yet.
He wasn't an option.
It was a good take and a good thought, and it made sense until we started to do math and look at facts about the calendar, and I guess it just doesn't add up. That does not mean, though, he wasn't on their radar. So it's pretty cool to go back to the well at the Red Sox and go, hey, dangle a carrot that is Caleb Durbin in your face.
Yeah. Are you using that guy? Using that Harrison guy? Because we could. We could use him.
You're good? All right. Send him on over. We've got a rookie that batted 256.
That's right.
414-677-1250. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line on a Take Back Tuesday where we admit our wrongs. Meaning we said something, we're like, boy, probably want to take that back. Usually these are hot take backs.
Heat of the moment.
Something flew out of our mouth. We're like, well, that sounded good in the moment, but upon further review, maybe not so much. Yours has to do with the Olympics?
Yeah, I was very focused on what was happening in my state with the Packers and then the Bucks and then looking forward to March Madness and spring training. And I knew the Olympics was happening, but I couldn't even have told you what day it started. This year I was completely out opening ceremonies. It just wasn't about any of it. And I was like, okay, Olympics. And then like the first gold they got. And now I'm like, every night I'm bringing up Peacock. They have like a prime time in Milan, which shout out to Mike Tirico. I don't know if you saw that. Literally did a report from the field after the Super Bowl, after calling the Super Bowl, did a report for primetime in Milan. Then 13 hours later, he's in the studio in Milan and taking over the Olympics NBC coverage.
I will never complain about travel again.
Yeah, I mean, just nuts. And shout out to Mike Tirico for being just an absolute animal in what he does. But yeah, it's awesome. And now I'm doing updates. I'm checking. I'm looking forward to what's next, when the U.S. is next. I'm even watching storylines that aren't U.S. related, like Jake Paul's girlfriend or fiance or whatever won like a speed skating. She's from the Netherlands. She's not even from the U.S. I'm watching that. I take back anything I said about the Olympics. I'm all in. I'm absolutely all in.
You and Tommy's brother both, apparently. Tommy's brother texted in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. Tommy's brother says, I'm taking back anything bad I've ever said about watching curling. I watched that USA mixed doubles match versus Estonia over the weekend, and I got far more excited than I ever expected. Now to find a place where I can buy a broom and a stone. Getting into curling, are we, Tommy's brother?
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
Make sure to catch that. It's the gold medal match with two folks from the Duluth Superior area, Corey and Corey. Corey Dropkin and Corey Thesey. Corey Thesey is a true Duluth native who came up through the Duluth youth program in their curling. And Corey Dropkin, originally from the Boston area, but moved to Duluth to chase curling at an Olympic level and went to University of Minnesota Duluth and competes out of the Duluth Curling Club. And then that Corey saw the other Corey and said, we should probably take over the world. They're going to attempt to do that very thing today at 11 o'clock on USA. Shout out to Duluth Superior listening here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network on 710 The Game. So I caught a piece of audio from our friends at Cheesehead TV. Sounded like Aaron Nagler was out at the Super Bowl. If it wasn't him, boy, he's got a voice doppelganger. Somebody, though, from Cheesehead TV asked Jordan Love if he wanted more control of the offense. And his answer surprised me.
I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of the offense and what we do. I definitely have a lot of say in what we do. And I think me and Matt are on the same page with what we're trying to get done. And I think it's something that we'll keep building and growing upon and finding what we do good and just keep trying to grow in that area. But I feel very comfortable with what we do as an offense, and I think we have a great system.
Did you catch that?
Which part?
The part where he said, I already have control.
Yeah, and they're on the same page.
I'd like to take back blaming Matt LaFleur for all of the bad play calls this season.
What?
I think Jordan Love deserves some of the blame. If he has control of the offense, and let's just call it 50-50. Let's say Jordan Love has 50% control over the plays, and his guy Matt LaFleur has 50% control of the plays. Then Jordan Love deserves a little more not credit for how some of those games went, specifically in the second half of the last 5 games of the season. Because if he likes what's going on, if he has control, if Jordan Love loves the system and him and Matt LaFleur are on the same page, then not only do I have more questions, but I'd like to take back blaming Matt LaFleur for the entire problem that was the Packers offense stalling at so many different points this season. And then put yourself in Ed Polish's shoes and go, okay, hold on. This isn't all Matt LaFleur's fault. Jordan Love, still a young quarterback, has a lot of control over the offense, and maybe based on tape, they noticed when he audibled or canned out of a play call that Matt threw in and it didn't work. Or maybe they didn't even have to recognize it because they already knew. One thing that we don't get to see on the public side is the internal grades that the players get. I don't know if you know this, but after every single game, each and every player gets a report on their performance with a grade attached to it. Jordan Love had a great year at quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he maybe deserves a little bit more of the blame that got put on Matt LaFleur this entire season from a play call perspective. So that's my Take Back Tuesday. I would like to take back some of the blame on the Packers offense stalling and put it on Jordan Love instead of all on Matt LaFleur.
I think the reason why it's difficult for us to judge that as fans is because we don't know how much of it was plays being decided pregame or pre-drive, or if it was Matt sending in a play and Jordan just going with it, or if it was Matt not sending in a play and Jordan just calling a play. The only time we can really tell is if, you see Jordan going can and audibling at the line. That's the only time where we go, okay, something's different. They're going in a different direction. Beyond that, we don't really truly know who the decision is. We just know that from a coaching standpoint, that's LaFleur. LaFleur is calling that. I think personally, not having any sources saying that this is the truth, that it has been more of Aaron Rodgers fought Matt LaFleur more than I think Jordan Love does. I don't think that necessarily Jordan Love has as much or the more control of the offense. I think it's just Aaron Rodgers went, no, I'm doing it this way. And Jordan Love goes, okay, coach.
Yeah, there's some for sure. I mean, Matt LaFleur's offense didn't start to shine until Rodgers was out and in was Love. I mean, that's what a lot of fans and a lot of critics said. All right, now we're going to get to see Matt LaFleur's offense the way it's designed. And he and Jordan Love are running that offense. Aaron Rodgers did not. Remember, Christian Watson told me, which offense are you talking about me learning? Aaron's or Matt's? So that was clear as a bell internally that there were two systems. Now it's one. And this system is Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. And so when Jordan said that, I was just like, okay, all right. So what are we missing here from let's execute these play calls in a different manner? And there was a lot of talk that when it seemed like Jordan Love was allowed to cook this offseason and maybe hit the mute button on the helmet speaker, that a lot better things happen to the Packers offense. Kurt Benkert did a great job of breaking down some of the play calls, specifically in that game against Chicago to end the season. And look at how Jordan Love took over in certain circumstances in the second half, to the point where he saved the Packers on 1 3rd or 4th down conversion, a long pass, and then they go right back to the prototypical runs. Well, who called what play in that category?
Right.
Who's got control over that? So I just think there's a little bit more of sharing the blame than all of the blame that I accidentally, maybe intentionally at the moment, put on Matt LaFleur.
Sure. I mean, that's the same argument that a lot of people have made about a lot of the coaching staff. Of the coaches can only coach so much, right? And then it's the players on the field. We want to blame Rich Bisaccia, but for Dobbs not having him in position on that onside kick, but Bisaccia couldn't be the one that landed on the ball, right? That had to be Dobbs.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some give and take there for sure. I just think that it's all looking at, there just needs to be a change. There needs to be some type of change. I don't know whether you're putting the blame on LaFleur or on Love or on both or on whoever, that you can look at this and go, yeah, let's just do that again. And it'll be better this time.
We're definitely doing the Super Bowl party again that we did this past weekend for, I think, the 15th year in a row of the last 20, something along those lines. And there was a clear winner in the Super Bowl app category. I want to know if you've ever had this. I'll tell you about it next. We're inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, and we're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wisconsin, remember, you can find Inside Wisconsin Sports on your favorite podcast platform. You can text sports to the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. You will get a link directly back to the webpage within wisportsradio.com that will allow you to listen to any segment, any interview, any hour, at any time from any show that is Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Josh, we had the Super Bowl party.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Amazing. 10 pounds plus heavier in a matter of 48 hours.
I heard that, yep.
I am a professional grazer. When we have parties like this and there's just food for days, I graze. And I can't imagine how many times I said out loud, I have been full for about an hour now. And you think I'm going to stop? Absolutely not.
No. When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Oh, I dipped.
Oh, yeah.
The number one appetizer that was brought to our Super Bowl party was, ready for this? Homemade, deep-fried cordon bleu bites with some dip that was amazing.
Yeah.
My buddy Darren took a piece of string cheese, wrapped it in ham, breaded it, fried it, and put it on a plate with a dip. We know which one goes over the best because it's the first one gone.
Sure.
He won the appetizer MVP trophy. We should get a trophy.
Yeah, you should get a trophy.
Ooh, we should get a trophy. Amanda, if you're listening, we should get a trophy.
Get a trophy.
I know I'm not going to follow through on the trophy.
No, you'll forget. You'll forget for sure.
A close second. Have you ever heard of shotgun shells? There's an appetizer called shotgun shells.
I don't think so.
You take bacon, wrap stuffed manicotti shells that you stuffed with ground beef, Italian sausage, shredded cheese, and whatever seasonings that you like. I found the recipe on Meat Church. You ever heard?
Wow.
Are you much of a meat smoker, Josh?
No, I don't smoke.
Big fan of the meat smoking.
Okay.
Can't wait for springtime. That's when this gets the best. I mean, we had food coming out of our ears.
Yeah.
My buddy Mike brought these shotgun shells. We had roasted chicken. We had somebody make a brisket.
Wow.
I mean, I'm going through. We fried in the moment. My buddy Chris and his buddy Chris. My buddy Chris. There's a couple Chris's. Fried chicken wings on the spot.
Like literally fried them right there.
Right there.
Good.
Yep. The deep fryer was rocking. The seasonings were out. It was a weekend filled with food. And that's why I took yesterday off, because I couldn't move.
Was there a buffalo chicken dip?
Always a buffalo chicken
So
dip.
I would have just cut half
Probably
of it
2.
out of the tray, and then I would have put it on my plate, and then that would have been what I ate.
My buddy Matt made homemade biscuits and stuffed those biscuits with buffalo chicken dip.
Oh, I don't know
problem.
how you only gained 10 pounds. I
Might
feel
have
like
been
I
more.
gained 2 pounds just in this segment listening to you.
So I love the grazing. That is,
it's
any of those parties.
dangerous.
And we had a hell of a spread. Were you a part of the conversation when it dawned on me how many people we had coming?
Yeah.
Was that you on Thursday? Yeah.
Yeah. How many
Amanda
people?
and I did the math last night.
Yeah.
61.
That's too many people. That's so many people in your house.
In my house and in my garage. We did some work on the garage this past week that allowed that to become another living room. Good news, it's awesome. Bad news, I don't think we can park in our garage anymore. That's that awesome.
Well, see, and my thing is then when you host a party like this, I mean, how long is cleanup? There's no way you have it all put back the way it's supposed to be.
I'm so glad you asked. Ed is absolutely not put back the way it's supposed to. There's absolutely still the bar and the booze bottles set up for sure.
Uh-huh.
Couple tables I got to take down still, but everybody that brings food, and we ask everybody to bring a dish to pass, takes it all with them when it's done. And so at the end of the night, our house, outside of a couple tables that we have to take down and fold up the lawn chairs that are in the garage, our house looked like it did right before we started the party.
Wow. I mean,
I know.
That's a huge win. That's a huge win. That's always my big thing about hosting the parties is just like, all right, well, it's going to take me the weekend to clean this up, move everything back, get it how it's supposed to be.
We looked at each other when it all ended on Sunday night, and I said, this is proof that this is a good party because everything is put back the way it's supposed to be. Cleanup late in the evening after a bunch of cocktails and beers, little dicey. Little headache yesterday morning. Yeah. Real glad I didn't have to work. When we come back, we're going to hear from Matt Arnold. In Matt Arnold, we trust with the Caleb Durbin trade? I think so, especially after you hear what he had to say about the whys and what's next. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, it's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Crowd is here, about to blow, waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Whoa!
And Durbin drills one into center field. That's got a chance. And Durbin sends it out. 2-run home run for Caleb Durbin.
Fly ball, left field, it is deep, it is gone! There's some insurance as Durbin homers again.
Durbin, fly ball, left field, fair foul. It is a fair ball, home run.
Durbin, deep left center, it is back, and it is gone! Caleb Durbin walks it off for the Brewers.
You know, it's a good call by Jeff Levering when the static hits the mic.
Yeah, when he peaks.
That's called a peak in the biz. And that was a peak-worthy moment. The walk-off home run from Caleb Durbin earlier this season. Brian Anderson, Jeff Levering on the call, FanDuel Sports. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports on your radio. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Processing the Caleb Durbin trade yesterday. We send Durbin, Monasterio, Siegler, and a competitive balance round B pick in the 2026 MLB draft. And in return from the Boston Red Sox, we received left-handed pitcher, most likely going to be a guy in the starting rotation, Kyle Harrison, infielder David Hamilton, who we're familiar with because the Brewers drafted him, and another lefty prospect pitcher in Shane Drohan. So all show long, Josh and I, along with you on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250, have been processing what this means for the Milwaukee Brewers. Later in this hour, we're going to process what it's like as Wisconsin sports fans to have fan favorites come and fan favorites go, and what that's been like, because it felt like Caleb Durbin was quickly becoming, if not had become, a fan favorite. Even though from a baseball perspective, he's a replaceable player. Batted .256, was a rookie. Not something that we would look to and go, geez, we had the whole farm bet on him at third base. We didn't. It's a replaceable piece. And yet, here we are as Brewers fans again going, oh, come on. As a matter of fact, former Milwaukee Brewer catcher Eric Kratz had the exact same feeling when he saw the news.
As a Brewer fan, yes, I am a fan of the Brewers, the organization, the people in the front office, the way everything's run. It's cool stories. But how can you get rid of two guys who finished third and fourth in the National League and Rookie of the Year voting? Did they win it? No, they didn't win it. Isaac Collins and Caleb Durbin are off this team. They were guys that personified what the Brewers are. Are they getting rid of them because it's max value? Okay. How many times can you keep hitting on that?
So that's the hardest part for Brewers fans to process, Josh, is we love guys that get the Brewers organization. Isaac Collins, Caleb Durbin, Freddie Peralta. There's been other names throughout the years that are like, dude gets it. Eric Kratz got it.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Downtown Sean on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line who wasn't here in the first hour of the show that said, hey, did you guys hear this? Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it. I feel like Eric Kratz kind of answers his own question, though, in that of saying, so what? So you can get max value for him? Okay, but how long is that going to? Well, I don't know, but it still is. It is working. And so I feel like more than in the past, if the Brewers have to make that move, good thing that they keep hitting. And let's knock on wood and hope that they keep hitting. It's just the way it works.
Whatever wood Matt Arnold is knocking on, it seems to be working. Shout out to him and props to him, by the way, for on a day like that, right before spring training starts, he makes a big trade and then makes himself available. Here's what Matt Arnold had to say right at the beginning of his chat yesterday in regard to the trade with Caleb Durbin.
Obviously, this was a
a big trade for us and something that we've looked at for a while and felt like, when you tie this to a deal like Freddie Peralta that we made recently, our ability to add multiple arms, young arms and controllable arms is something that's really exciting for us when you talk about the addition of guys like Sproat plus, a Harrison plus a Drohan. The combination of adding those guys is really exciting for us. And then obviously when you tie that back to the infield piece of this, certainly we're going down multiple infielders in this trade, but the ability to access, on top of Jet Williams, somebody like a David Hamilton who plays the way we love to play, very exciting, athletic, good defensive player, along with the infield depth that we had in the system coming, made a lot of sense for the Brewers.
So, yeah. I thought it was interesting, though, and I pointed out, he immediately, right off the bat, brings up the Freddie Peralta trade and says how it ties into that. And when you're looking at that trade and what they have to do, I'm telling you, I think that Matt Arnold, a lot of times Matt Arnold has made moves that has me scratching my head and going, I don't get it at all. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand why you had to do that. I don't think it was the right move. And then I always eat my words. But this one, I think there's a little bit more clues to put this puzzle together of why the move was made. It wasn't just an opportunity to get a better player. It was a need in comparison to an area where they have a lot of young prospects that are right there, ready to come up. And they still got a guy in case they're not. The fact that Freddie Peralta is no longer on this team played a bigger impact than I think we wanted to think the Brewers knew, right? As a fan base, we were like, I know you had to move on from Freddie, but man, this sucks. I think the Brewers were saying, man, we have to move on from Freddie, but this sucks. And they saw an opportunity to get another arm in there that they thought was going to have an immediate impact on not having Freddie Peralta. And so they bit. They took that chance.
Yes to the arms that have been added to the rotation, and also yes to the idea that the Brewers can weather the storm in losing Caleb Durbin. Arnold talked a lot about that in his presser. We don't want to play the whole thing for you, but he specifically emphasized their current infield defense and listed names on the depth chart, including Hamilton being able to make an impact. But as of right now, they're not locked into a plan at third base. So who's going to play the hot corner?
Yeah, always open to additions, I would say first, but at the same time, look, I think there are a lot of ingredients here that we've talked about, and I had a conversation with Murph this morning, and for a while now, just kind of talking about some of the frameworks that we've talked about, and we're not really married to any one particular permutation of the infield here. I think there are a number of different ways we could sort this out, and look, I'm headed to Arizona on Tuesday. And so, once we get into camp, we'll be able to evaluate these guys, spend a little more time with them, talk to them about where they're comfortable. But yeah, feel good about the options that we have available at third, short, and second.
I mean, I think that was like the most interesting piece. Right off the bat, he says, yeah, always open to additions, meaning he might not be done yet. There could be another move of some guy that he already traded for that doesn't even get to see a uniform for Milwaukee or one of their minor league teams because they're moving on somewhere else for him to get another piece. I don't think Matt Arnold's done necessarily if the right move comes along. I don't think he's locked into any of this. And more than that, he's going, and if nothing better does come along and I can't put another trade together, I like the idea of my pieces to this puzzle that I can put wherever I want to give the Brewers the best opportunity.
I don't know about you, Josh, but I dominate the hat shuffle baseball on the video board game.
Yeah.
At Brewers games, dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's become too easy. I don't even watch now. Now I guess beforehand.
Oh, that's fun to bet beforehand, too.
Yeah.
Like, all right, what hat you got? Turns out Matt Arnold's really good at that game, too. So much so that apparently Sal Frelick is an option at third base.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're always open to experimenting, and Sal's the best, and he's always willing to just do whatever it takes. So I think it's something we'll discuss when we get to Arizona. But he's also a really good outfielder, Gold Glove winner out there. We like him in the outfield for sure, and we like the other infielders as well. But I love that about Sal, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team. And so certainly something that we'll potentially discuss and explore. Like you said, we've done that in the past, but I would expect he starts as a Gold Glove outfielder for us going forward. But again, open to having those conversations with him when we get to Arizona.
Well, him starting as a Gold Glove outfielder certainly makes sense.
Yes.
Until we find if whoever we put at third base is the right person. And if not, so begins the shuffle game. And we talked earlier in the show that there's a chance that Joey Ortiz moves back to third where he started. I don't think they want to move Gold Glovers off of second base and Bryce Terang. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to pull Ortiz off a shortstop either, but maybe a change in position will help him hit better. I don't know.
In that case, move him.
Yeah. How about pitching? Can he pitch?
Yeah.
That would be, maybe we don't have to bat him then if need be.
I think it's interesting because before this trade, the conversation was all about are one of these prospects going to replace Joey Ortiz at short? We're banking on the fact that Joey Ortiz is going to do better at the plate. Yeah, Joey Ortiz has been great in the field, but we needed more production out of his bat. And if we didn't see that, it was going to be the time to move on from Joey Ortiz and bring up one of these young guns if they're ready to take over at shortstop. You know, especially when you add in Jet Williams. I think a lot of us were going Jet. Jet is going to be that guy. Now you get rid of Durbin, and you're going, okay, wait. So now are we saying we're pretty secure in Joey Ortiz being a long-term option for this team, at least for this upcoming season? And I'd say I still don't know. That's the thing with all these prospects is that I couldn't tell you which one, or of the 5 or 6 that are right there, which one comes up and takes over, or when they take over, or when they play. It's going to be a lot of surprises this year for the Brewers, and fans just got to keep their head on a swivel because I think it's going to happen fast.
Well, there's always surprises coming out of training camp. There's always that one name that we didn't know about that was like, whoa, broke on the scene in training camp. Look at this guy performing in the Major League Invite. Never heard of him. Who's he? What's he like? There's one name within the Brewers system, Brock Wilken. He's a true third baseman, big league camp invite, and they're seeing if he can accelerate his learning curve and maybe make a trip up to the bigs. Cooper Pratt is in that. Mm-hmm. Jet Williams, you mentioned. Jesus Made. Matt Arnold, are any of these dudes coming up?
Yeah, certainly open to it. Look, as I mentioned earlier, I think one of the things we don't want to rush anybody here. I think that's important. We want to make sure these guys are ready, when they tell us they're ready. And so that's not something we want to force, but certainly if there's an opportunity for a young guy who steps up in camp or through our evaluation process, maybe it's not right away, but it's early in the season. You guys all know it's a really long season to get through, and having this level of depth that's major league ready with the exciting young infielders that we have. We believe a number of these guys have a chance to step up and help us both now and in the future.
Mike Moustakas played the hot corner, didn't he?
Yep.
That was a good ad that came along with a big stick. There's a lot of people that are believers in Matt Arnold and the plan. There's plenty of those guys that he listed off not wanting to rush in the minor league system, but all in all, it's going to be okay. I don't think Caleb Durbin was the guy that we were all banking on at the beginning of the season being the answer at third base. So what we don't know is sometimes okay. And based on the way the last 2 seasons have gone, Matt Arnold's done a pretty good job of putting the right people in the right seat on the bus.
Right. You have to believe in Matt Arnold because he hasn't given you a reason not to. He's winning awards as well. You can't deny that. I do think that, and it's an interesting would you rather if this was a Wednesday, but would you rather, Trevor, have the Brewers give one of these young guns a shot and see that position and maybe even shortstop filled by some of these names that you just said, one of these prospects, or have a few of them packaged together and bringing in a third baseman that's like an elite guy like a Moustakas that ends up being, kind of a grizzled veteran, but with what we need at third base.
No, I think we keep these guys. There's too much future in their bodies that we haven't even tapped into yet, specifically at the big league level. I also don't think there's many names out there that A, the Brewers could afford for any length of time, and B, that would specifically be able to come in at third base and make a giant impact. I think making a splash with a late trade for a pitcher or something along those lines, or a big bat, makes a lot more sense than packaging some of the best prospects in all Major League Baseball and hoping that we find a third baseman that can do what we need him to do. Moustakas was a good pickup, but I don't think he was as big as they were hoping him to be when they made the splash they did for Moose. And obviously it wasn't something that stuck around very long, nor does any of these big splash trades when the Brewers make them.
I mean, at 2018, he sure helped. You know?
Yeah, helped, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to go and find that one guy, again, within the Brewers budget that makes sense. I just think there's a lot more to lose than there is to gain by taking guys like those that we mentioned in Jesus Mate, even Luis Pena. There's so many good prospects. The Brewers do that really well, not only within our current system, but they're not afraid to go after prospects in other systems. We've proven that in the Freddie trade and now this Durbin trade as well.
I tend to agree with you. I will say there is such thing as being oversaturated in prospects. If you have 4 elite shortstops in your farm system, only one shortstop plays at a time. And so unless you're moving them and you see, well, we can move him to third, that could be a third baseman, that could be an outfielder, and you have space for him there, then it might not be the craziest idea to see, hey, we're going to trade this prospect for a guy that meets a need now. I don't think that they do that, but I do think they have a lot of prospects.
Trading prospects hurts less. That we can confirm.
Sure.
When we love these guys that are on our favorite teams and they end up in a different team uniform, it hurts. And that's what the reaction was with Caleb Durbin yesterday. So who else are on that list of some of our fan favorites that were here with us, whether it was the Brewers or the Packers or the Bucks or Badgers or Marquette even, moving on to the pros? It's hard to see some of these guys leave the state. Who tops your list as some of the most painful, love you and will miss you moves, whether trading, free agency, or frankly sometimes cutting, has been hardest for us and for you to process? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. That's next. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Stay here. 9 to noon with former Green Bay Packers fullback John Kuhn. Coming up next from 9 to noon, trying to process how the Bucs are 3-21 in their last 24 games against teams that are above 500, and yet are they tanking or no? Is there any hope for playoffs this year? We'll find out what the guys think. 9 to noon with former Packers fullback John Kuhn this morning, starting at 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Don't you forget about Caleb Durbin. We won't. An incredible rookie year for him as a Milwaukee Brewer, as he's literally on his way to the Boston Red Sox spring training. So here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, we're processing. Who else hurts? Who else did we see go too soon, whether it was through a trade or through a release and or a free agent signing? Who over the years, a little bit like Caleb Durbin, more like Freddie Peralta, was one of our favorite players that we saw leave the state of Wisconsin, and we're like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, and not necessarily just looking at because of their performance after they left, but just because they were a fan favorite, and then they were no longer here. One of, if not my top one, absolutely was Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones not staying with the Packers and the way that all went down and just his emotion and the way that, you know, he wanted to still be here. I was totally on the, why not both? No. Why can't we have both? Yes, to Josh Jacobs, but why not also Aaron Jones? And for those 15 minutes when the Packers had both of those players before they said, and we are releasing Aaron Jones, I was so happy to have both. And I thought that was a soul-crushing moment as a fan, going, man, he was right up there with Love, probably above Love in terms of just being adored by the fan base. And now a couple years later, people still love Aaron Jones, but we fell in love with Josh Jacobs too.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Who made you sick to your stomach when they left the state of Wisconsin? Whether via trade or free agent signing? Willie Adames was a tough one to lose. He totally got it in regard to the Brewers organization and what it means to be a Milwaukee Brewer. Many people on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line bringing up Paul Molitor. He went from Milwaukee to, I believe, the Blue Jays. Am I right on that? And then ended with the Twins?
I think that is correct, yeah.
A tough loss for the Brewers to move on from, and probably, says the 602, the last true igniter that the team had.
I mean, that was his nickname. So, yes, you are correct, by the way. Blue Jays to then the Twins.
Ray Allen, another tough one to get over. Numerous people mentioning him off to the Supersonics. Prince Fielder, although didn't stay long with the other teams because of his injury that he had to be done with, but seeing him walk was tough. The 920 brings up a big one here. Paul Christ. Imagine what could have been with the Badgers football program had we stuck with Paul Christ at head coach, Jim Leonard, a quick DC / next man up type of mentality. And it has not been good since then. Now, I understand the NIL era came right after that move was made, but it does not negate the fact that Paul Christ was here and not doing terrible, certainly doing better than the way the Badger football program has looked the last few years.
I'll tell you what was a hard one for me was Drew Holiday. When the Bucs traded Drew Holiday, and I understand it was, yay, we're getting Dame. Oh my gosh, we're getting Damian Lillard. But like, I was like, yeah, but I never want to forget that championship, 2021, and what that team was. And I love Drew. That was hard for me, losing Drew.
My wife and I kind of had a running joke that when we would pick our oldest son up from school, there was numerous times when we had to let him know in the school parking lot that one of his favorite players was no longer with his favorite team.
Yeah.
And it fell on my shoulders at least twice. One was when Jesus Aguilar went from the Brewers to the Rays. He loved that guy, loved him, and bawled his ever-living eyes out when I told him that he was no longer a Brewer. The other one was Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, Jordy was a big one.
released by the Packers, signed with the Oakland Raiders, really never panned out for Jordy. And if you really look back at Goody's track record in regard to leaving guys go that we didn't necessarily think should stick around here, he's been pretty damn good.
I know. That's been the hard part, right? Is that's why the Packers have and the Brewers, honestly, have both been pretty darn good at looking at who they had moving on from them. And then you didn't really hear about that guy a whole lot. I think Micah Hyde was like the only person for a long time where I went, man, I wish he was still in a Packers uniform after he had moved on. Otherwise, no, they've been pretty good. Man, they are coming in fast.
The 414 dropped Brent Suter. Dude was a clubhouse vibe personified. Here's something cool. I actually texted Brent Suter last night. And I said, Brent, hey, man, your name came up today as one of the fan favorites that isn't with the Brewers organization anymore. And we're comparing that to Caleb Durbin. Do you want to jump on the radio in the morning and talk about what it's like to be a fan favorite in Milwaukee? He said, yes, of course. Definitely want to. 100%. And I don't even know what time my physical is in the morning here in Arizona for spring training. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Not going to be able to do it.
Not today, anyway, but he will come on and chat with us about that. It was also really cool to see Brent Suter celebrate as a Cincinnati Red at AmFam Field last year and lose his ever-living mind. I'm pretty sure I messaged him after that, too, and was like, dude, you are something else.
Well, that's how you know that they were a fan favorite, though. When, even though they're not playing for you, you're happy to see them have those moments. Schwartz Center texts in and says, my son was pretty mad yesterday when I told him that Monasterio was being traded. He was his favorite Brewer. He goes on to say, letting Charles Woodson go a year too early when all we had at safety was MD Jennings cost the Packers a Super Bowl, and I will never forget it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there too. But I think it's interesting too with the difference between an adult fan favorite and a kid fan favorite too. Because you pointed out your kiddo with Jesus Aguilar, Schwartz Center pointing out, Monasterio. We're not even talking about Monasterio. It's interesting how adults and children also pick who their fan favorites are. Something to think about too.
The 920 lists a bunch here. Desmond Howard, Prince Fielder, CeCe Sabathia, Edgar Bennett, Devontae Adams, Ray Allen.
See, so the
list goes on.
I have a question here because a lot of Brewers, right, coming through, and some of these guys on teams that I just absolutely loved. I mean, Prince, I remember I was working for the Brewers team store at the time. We put out a tip jar, and we had a piece of paper on it that said, fun to keep Prince in Milwaukee, because we so desperately wanted to keep him there. But I feel like losing fan favorites for the Brewers has never hurt so bad because we're just so used to it. We're so used to just getting punched right in the face when it comes to our emotional attachment with baseball players, because the Brewers just can never pay the guys. I feel like it's more difficult when you lose a Packer or a Buck because there are salary caps. There are opportunities for those teams to still be able to fight for players when they're going to go into free agency, to where there isn't that opportunity with the Brewers. So when you throw CeCe Sabathia in there, yeah, of course we wanted CeCe. I think we all kind of knew we weren't going to keep CeCe. And so it made it a little different.
Who was the first Brewer that you remember being a fan of that left? That like we knew we couldn't keep. He went on to play for a different team. He was good here, and it just wasn't going to last. Who was the first one?
The first one that comes to mind is Jeff Jenkins, maybe. I mean, he went to Philly that year that we made it. He won a World Series in 2008. But that was probably the first.
Mine was Gary Sheffield. I think he became a Yankee after he left the Brewers organization. I don't remember why. I don't remember if it was the money thing that came up, but I was a kid, and I remember Gary Sheffield going to bat at the plate for the New York Yankees, looking all fine and dandy in his pinstripes. Greg Vaughn was another one that I think went to the Padres.
Sheffield went from the Brewers to the Padres.
I had him mixed up. And then did he end up with the Yankees?
He did, but like 6 teams later.
Okay. Greg Vaughn, same thing there. I think he ended up, I knew somebody landed at the Padres. Listen, I don't know how some of this is in the back memory bank, way back in the backside of this bald dome, but I think about that stuff and like, man, that was.
Yeah, Vaughn
those were the
also
days.
went to the Padres.
That's what I thought. Okay, I got that one right at least.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like it sucked. I loved Prince. Oh, trust me, sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just bring up on YouTube like Prince Fielder home run highlights. The way that guy smacked the baseball was outstanding. I absolutely loved him. But it was the same thing of just, it doesn't hurt as bad when you know that's how it works.
What about ones that were close and could have been and yet weren't? Like the one that stings the worst in that for mine is TJ Watt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. TJ, oh,
Yeah,
that might be the number one in regards to
probably way
just
up there.
where you knew you had a shot at him and you missed. You never really see that as much in baseball because you don't really know when they draft players, who the heck they even drafted, where they are.
Well, there's also some on the list, Josh, like that, where they never really were able to make an impact here, even though they were here for a short time and then went on someplace else and now are getting paid, like Cole Van Lanen. So Cole is with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he's a Green Bay kid. I believe he went to either Schwabenau or Bayport. Somebody's going to tell me. And then I believe we traded him to Jacksonville at the end of training camp for a 7th-round pick. Boom, $70 million deal with Jacksonville this past year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough one. The 920 says Kenny Clark. Find that interesting. Because, yeah, I mean, Kenny was here for a while. We absolutely missed him when everyone was getting injured. But all I ever heard when it was, man, you'd love to have Kenny, the next words out of that person's mouth was, yeah, but I mean, I'm so glad we got Micah. And so what you get in return for him also makes a bit of difference in how bad you're missing him.
Did you see that Kenny Clark might get waived by the Cowboys? Can you imagine if we got Kenny Clark back in Green Bay with Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn, Lucas Van Ness, and Micah Parsons?
Yeah. I mean, that would be okay, but that's playing devil's advocate here. We just got done saying how the Packers move on from guys at the right time.
Well, that I don't know if we did. I mean, there was was there a right time? Well, I mean, Micah Parsons, like eeny, meeny, what's that? You want Kenny Clark? Yeah, we can do that. Hey, Kenny, dude, love you. We weren't going to let him go if it wasn't for Micah Parsons. He was a big deal.
Yeah. That's it. Well, exactly. The 920 says, Matt Appleton, says Josh Hader plus bad timing. No, Josh Hader because of bad timing. I don't think we would have been as upset about trading Josh Hader if it wasn't that we thought we had a legit shot, we had the best closer, and it completely derailed the locker room. That was all of it. I think that if they would have moved on from Josh Hader in the following offseason, I don't think it would have stung as bad.
The story behind the scenes, though, on Josh Hader and why he ended up parting, he made himself his own bed. And it wasn't going to be here in Milwaukee anymore, in the state of Wisconsin and with the Milwaukee Brewers. The guy had to pitch more than the 9th, more than 1 inning. And he just was, at some level, unable, unwilling, whatever it was. There is a reason. You guys think about this for a hot second. The Brewers were in first place when they traded Josh Hader, their closer. You don't think there was bigger fish to fry behind the scenes that led to that move? Big.
Well, the thing that made it interesting, though, was that Josh Hader didn't stay and, best closer in baseball when he was traded. He had his moments with the Padres and then fell off. And I don't even know where he is anymore. Is he still? Is he pitching? I have no idea.
He was in Milwaukee last year pitching, and they played a little welcome back tribute thinger for him. Yeah, as he was walking out to the bullpen. John Kuhn moved on from the Green Bay Packers, and clearly he's a fan favorite. I wonder what that was like on the other side of this coin. What's it like for the player when they leave the organization that they love, end up going and playing somewhere else like Kuhn did? We'll ask him next as we cross over with our friends from 9 to noon with former Green Bay Packers fullback John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. They get started at 9, but we'll ask John Kuhn this very question up next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wisconsin, if you missed any part of today's show, you can listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Just search Inside Wisconsin Sports on your favorite app, hit the follow button, and you can catch up on every episode, every hour, every highlight, whenever it works for you. You can always go back to on YouTube and Twitter. We're live on the video side there, and you can text sports right now to the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. We'll send you a link directly back, and it'll take you directly to the page at wisportsradio.com, where you can listen to any portion of the show. Whether it's this show, 9 to noon with John Kuhn, or the rest, they're all there online, wisportsradio.com. We're talking on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. What it's like when one of our favorite players leaves, like Caleb Durbin, right? How do we process that when a fan favorite moves on? What's it like for the player? In comes fan favorite John Kuhn. John, what's it like for the player? Durbin gets traded yesterday. He's a fan favorite, and he knows it. You move on from the Packers and head down to New Orleans. And you clearly were a fan favorite. What's it like for you leaving a team like this?
You know, you're a little bummed, but you get the business, right? And you're proud, and you're excited, and you're sad, and you're mad, and you're happy, and you're pissed. It's everything all at the same time. But being a professional, you compartmentalize, and you walk in that new building, and everybody's excited to see you. And that's the way it'll be for Caleb Durbin. He'll show up at spring training there for the Red Sox, and people will be excited to see him. And there'll be, a lot of conversations about, man, I'm a fan of yours. I've been watching you for a long time. We'll be talking to scouts, and they'll be excited about having him there, and they'll be talking about batting. And it's hard to explain, but it's a whirlwind of emotions, and there's nothing really that you settle into. Now, I do know some guys that were hot when they left Green Bay, like really mad, and they held that for a long period of time. And I always thought that was kind of funny because,
no,
I mean, what are you going to do?
You going to tell us who? Probably not, huh?
No, I'm not.
No. Yeah. Well, but I mean, John, come on. It's just like the competitive nature, right? They're just guys that use that as fuel, right? To try to be better. We see that revenge games. If this team didn't want me, I'll prove they made the mistake. Yada yada yada.
Winning when you come back and you actually play against them is one thing, but to really just hold that. I mean, I've known guys that were, when they left, they didn't want to come back for alumni events. They didn't want to come back to be in Green Bay at all. Like, they were pissed. And I thought to myself, man, you had a great long career in Green Bay, a good bit of time, a lot of success, a lot of really cool things to hang your hat on. You want to look at that in a bad note, on a bad side. And I was surprised to see that some guys, yes, that's how they wanted to go about it. But that wasn't me. That wasn't the way that I took it. But when we did come back to play Green Bay, when I was with New Orleans, I gave away every trade secret there was in the book. I told them what every audible was. I told them what every hand signal was. Like, we were well prepared. I told them what cleats to wear in the game so that they didn't slip on Lambeau Field. Like, I gave them everything.
And yet then when you're done, you came back to Green Bay. And I think that's an interesting point too for fan favorites, is seeing not only, the decisions they make during their playing career, but then the decisions they make afterwards, right? Because you went, I was a fan favorite here. I loved it here. And you decided Green Bay should be home.
Yeah, listen, I didn't come back here because I was a fan favorite here. I'll tell you right now, I came back here because I love Wisconsin, right? Because Wisconsin, I had my firstborn in Wisconsin, and we lived in Wisconsin for 10 years. I got married. I didn't get married in Wisconsin, but I got married after I moved to Wisconsin, and then my wife moved to Wisconsin, and we started our lives in Wisconsin. That's why we live in Wisconsin, because we love the people, we love the environment, and we can make it through the winters. But we love everything about it we love. But it wasn't because I was a fan favorite.
Josh, when players move on, I always wonder, like when John just mentioned, if they're super upset and they're leaving, and it's not on their own time, dime, or say. Is it because they think they had more to do here, or they deserve more pay? Or, John, help us process that.
The answer is yes.
Well, is it though? That's what I'm wondering.
there were guys that were pissed because they were surprised they didn't see it coming, right? And I remember specifically talking to a couple guys, hey, how's it going with your contract? Are you nervous at all? And they'd be like, no, I mean, we're thinking about asking for an extension for more money. And I was like, what are you talking about? You asked for more money and you are gone. And guys would get released later. And, then there were a couple guys that were like, man, I just want one more year. I just want one more year. And then they were losing playing time and they were getting pissed because they were losing playing time. And it's like, man, you played for a long time. You should be coaching the guys that are underneath you now because you can see how good they are. But everybody's super competitive, highly competitive. If they weren't, they wouldn't be in the NFL. I took it a different approach because I felt like every day in the NFL was a blessing for me. There were many years. Every day I walked in the locker room, I was like, am I going to have clothes in here today? So every day I was there, it was a blessing. And I can remember the old guys that took me under their wing. So I always made a point for myself. When I got up in age, when I got up in years, I was going to be that guy, the guys that helped me when I was a young one. So that's what I always tried. That's what I always tried to do on the way out. But seriously, I mean, it could be for any reason whatsoever. They could feel like, I will say this. If you found out on Twitter that you were going to get released or traded, that would hurt me.
Yeah,
that would break me. I might feel a certain type of way there. But the Packers always treated me with respect. And because I might not have liked what they were saying, but at least they told me how they felt. So I always took that as being fortunate.
John, what about timing, though? So right before spring training starts, Caleb Durbin gets dealt. It reminds me a little bit, probably not comparable, to Josh Sitton getting cut or waived or whatever you want to call it right at the end of training camp. Timing matters, too.
Yeah, but I consider Josh's cut more hurtful, more painful. Like Caleb Durbin's right before spring training. It's still the off season, and he's getting traded. He's not getting released. He's getting traded. To me, sure. That's a different situation. And again, I go back to this. Caleb Durbin just finished his rookie year. He's excited about playing baseball in the majors. Like he'll play anywhere. If you'd have told him last year at the beginning of the year, all right, you're going to start on the moon, he'd have been like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go out there. I'm ready.
Let's go moon.
Let's go team moon. Like he would have done that. But now he's going to go up and he's going to compete. He's going to potentially start in Boston. Like that's cool too. Like let's not dismiss that. Like he's got to be excited about going to play for the Red Sox in Boston, right? I mean,
100%.
Might have loved the Brewers for starting here and having that great rookie campaign like he did, but I can see him being very excited to go play for an organization like the Red Sox.
Well, I think that's the point, John, is that it's not always in this relationship when there's a breakup, both sides don't always feel the same, right? As the fan favorite, that doesn't mean that the favorite's upset about the situation. The fans might miss them more than the player is upset with their new opportunity.
Well, I'll say this. I'd be surprised if there was any fan favorite that ever played baseball, Prince Fielder included, when he that didn't miss the fans of Milwaukee and Green Bay and Wisconsin. Right, we have great fans.
Yes,
when you talk about the attendance at Lambeau Field, when you talk about the attendance at the Milwaukee Brewers, the attendance at the Pfizer Forum isn't that great right now. But I will still say the fans that flock the Pfizer Forum on a regular basis, like they're tremendous fans. So you will miss them no matter where you go. But you can acknowledge, like, hey, that fan base was great, but this organization, this fan base, this is going to be pretty cool too.
John Kuhn, 9 to noon, coming up next. There's the name. It finally just hit the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. We've listed so many names, and there it is, the one, the only Jake Kumro. Apparently that hurt the worst.
To somebody.
To some UW Whitewater. Big fan.
There you go.
All right, thanks to all of the feedback, the texts, the calls, the engagement is what makes this thing go. We love that when you guys get yourself involved. Do so with 9 to noon and the rest of the lineup here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. The studio's powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., he joins us every week on Wednesdays, Doug Gottlieb. Third place, UW Green Bay Phoenix basketball. What? How? Well, he'll share with us, plus what the game looks like on Thursday and how he got there. You think other teams are calling yet? I wonder if that's going to be something that he has to deal with after the turnaround.
True.
Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We'll see you tomorrow.
Because we're not done yet.